As we continue our Crisis in the Classroom coverage, Fox Illinois is turning our attention to the upcoming consolidated general election on April 1st. School boards across the country have come under scrutiny for different policies and decisions, and Unit 4 is no exception. We're working for you to help you learn more about the candidates before you head to the polls. Joining me is Ronald Baker, one of 11 school board candidates for Unit 4. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, this is my first question I have for you. What inspired you to run for the school board, and what key issues do you plan to prioritize if elected?
My inspiration for running for the school board stemmed from when I was a kid in the Decatur public school system. As a young adult, if you would call me that at that time, I had a lot of very diverse friends, and over the years, what I found is that those numbers, dropped off. It went from, 50 friends to 25 to only 5 black males graduating from high school. And I didn't realize it at the time, but then as I moved along into college and my professional career, those spaces kept getting smaller and smaller when it came to some of my specifically black male friends. I then looked at some of the literacy rates and stuff kind of nationally throughout the nation, and saw that black males and black females had some of the lowest literacy and math rates in our public education system. So ultimately, that was what inspired me to start getting involved with our public education system, and leading me into where I'm at now. As far as the three topics that I'd like to focus on for our Unit 4 Public School District, the first one is the educational gap for our black students, specifically in reading and math. I don't think that you can, my perspective, I really don't think you can get as much of or that is the basis of a grassroots effort for a lot of things then on out. My second thing is the staff shortages. Not just the teaching staff shortages, but the staff shortages throughout the district, from teachers' aides, bus drivers, janitors, our teachers. That is an area that's not just a problem in Unit 4, but it's a national issue. And then lastly, is changing the perception of the culture around public education and the Unit 4 Public School District. When I came here, when my wife and I came here and we were looking for a home, one of the first questions that friends and stuff would ask is, "Hey, where are your kids going to go to school?" And a lot of times, before I can get my answer out, the narrative was, "Oh, you need to go to the private schools, or you need to go to Muhammad and Monticello," and that's not where I want my kids educated. I believe in our public education system, and I'm here to support it.
How do you plan to improve communication and transparency between the board, parents, teachers, and students?
I think the first thing I like to do is really to understand my role as a school board member. And I think that's one of the things that we have, that persons watching the school board meetings and stuff, those are some things that kind of happen behind the scenes that sometimes if you don't stay in your lane in some ways, the system of governance gets clouded. So my big thing is to make sure I understand my role as a school board member, is to make sure that I understand how what kind of chain of command is in place, what policies are in place. I want to make sure that I'm talking to our superintendent. Those are things that, as a school board member, there is a very set system that's there from the Illinois State Board of Education and the Unit 4 School Board that has a policy on what school board what their role is, what it should be, and how they're supposed to govern within their realm.
Given the recent controversy surrounding the current school board, what specific steps will you take to restore trust and bring stability to the district?
I think that goes right into my last answer. Specific steps. It's really governing through policy. It's making sure that the policies that are in place match processes, and that those processes are things that our superintendent can then take and utilize for the vision and mission of the school district. I'm a healthcare professional. That is my job. That's what I do, and that's what I've been trained to do. I'm not an educator. What I feel like I'm a stable-minded individual that can listen to people, can understand, the policies and stuff that are in place, and I want to take that as a professional role for myself. So it's a lot of making sure that I'm not trying to overstep my role as a school board member to then move on into doing such things as believing that I can do more than what our teachers are trained to do, or more than what our superintendent is trained to do. I want to give them. I want to be able to give them support to do their job as best as they can. Very similar to how I do my job at the hospital. I would like persons that are in. I don't deal directly with a board member, but I would like those persons in administration to give me support to do the job that I'm professionally trained to do. I believe that's my role as a school board member. It's also one of those things that, I will take very seriously, and I want to be able to then do those things, but then to go back and evaluate, are those processes working? Are there things that we need to change? Are there things that we need to adapt to? And are there things that I'm learning more about now that maybe what I thought at the start of this looked great, but maybe we need to, we need to add something, we need to take something away, but that's how I plan on utilizing my role as a board member.
What is one major issue you believe the current board has mishandled, and how would you approach it differently to ensure a better outcome for the community?
I think, that's a tough question. Because mismanaged, I would say honestly that I think board members have mismanaged their individual roles of being a school board member. So I think, and not respecting the other members that are within the board itself, and not respecting the one employee that the school board member is responsible for. So, as far as mismanagement, it goes back to what I said before. I don't want to be elected to the school board, nor do you or the community want me to go onto the school board to be the superintendent or to be the teacher. That's not what I'm trained to do. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to take my job as a school board member very seriously, and to respect the processes, and to respect my other what it would be it'd be myself and the other 6 board members. When those lines get crossed, what happens is some of the things that you're seeing currently on the board and at some of the school board meetings. You see a lack of respect between board members, and you see really it puts the district at a liability because it allows a lack of trust between other board members in a space where your votes and some of the information that you're sharing amongst each other, board members just don't feel, like that's being upheld to the position that they're in.
Many school districts are dealing with safety issues for both students and teachers. If elected, what do you plan to do to make sure our schools are safe?
Yeah, safety is it's always a big concern in almost any area, especially when you're dealing with children. I think the first part is to make sure I'm listening to the teachers and the superintendent and her staff to see what kind of issues are going on in the schools and what are the priorities. Is it that teachers don't feel safe in the classroom? Is it that there's too many students in the class? And there's a lot of things there that what does safety mean and what is the priority? But then it isn't what it's not. My job isn't then to go into the schools and to become the safety officer, like to govern through the policy. So are there things there? I believe one of the issues coming up is going to be some of the contract negotiations. It's going to be to make sure that teachers have what they feel, to prioritize teachers and what they feel like they need to be safe in the classrooms. It's also with some of the CESP, which is the support staff, to make sure that we're listening to them as board members and that we are giving them what they need to feel safe in the classroom. So how do I handle safety? Handle safety by through policy. It's through making sure that those things are issues that we're talking about at a board level, that we're taking those things and we're directing them through the superintendent. And then the superintendent, it's then her job to then take those items and kind of matriculate those things down the paths to make sure that those things are being prioritized. But safety, governing through policy.
This is my last question for you. Will you continue to support the anti-racism policy that the district has put in place?
Yes, absolutely. The anti-racism policy is a very, very powerful statement, directive, and that's also one of the things of governing through policy. That was put in place, I want to say right after COVID, and it was based off of the work that a lot of individuals took part in, and community members, administration and stuff. They took part in putting this document together to say, hey, things that we're doing in our public education system, there needs to be some more highlighted focus around our black and brown children. So that policy is there to help guide, some of the work that our school district is attempting to move forward with. I don't want to go back to the drawing board. What I like to do is I like to be able to take that policy, govern through it, govern through utilizing that for the strategic plan, and I'd like to see if the things that we have in place, if they're working, if not, going back and adding, amending, whatever that looks like towards that policy. But that policy is a really, really powerful document. I do believe in it. I do believe that it is needed in our school district. We are a district that is the majority of our students are black students. The majority of students, and one of the hot topics also is special education. The majority of our students in special education are our black students. I believe that policy is very, very big to make sure that we are focusing our efforts and making sure that those children don't get left out.
Okay, I appreciate you. That was my last question. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and watch more videos from News Channel 20.